All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of the show and an exciting one because we're moving into 2023. And in this episode, what I want to talk about is really setting clear intentions for next year for yourself. And just kind of how we're going to do that. So before we dive in, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Matt Cotty. And again, I am the founder of Restored Minds and the creator of the AAA Response and the host of this show, the OCD and Anxiety Show. And if you're looking for help, one of the things that I want to just say right off the bat is that I have some links down in the notes that will take you over to a free guide and as well as a 2-day workshop that we have to kind of get you started of really understanding the OCD and anxiety cycle, how it works, how to break out, and how to really reclaim your life. And so please check those out. And then also early next year, so in the next few weeks, depending on when you're listening to this, I'm going to be putting out my new book called From Stuck to Unstuck. And in that, I really, lay out, again, the whole psychoeducation and really break down the AAA response in a written format. So I'm really excited about that. So please stay tuned and make sure you're on your email list if you want to look for that, because we'll be releasing it probably in January. So anyways, let's go ahead and talk about moving into a new year and what that looks like, and more importantly, what it means to set clear intentions for the year and why I don't believe you should set goals. Okay, so let's talk about number one, why we shouldn't set goals. Goals are these kind of superficial milestones that we set in the future, right? And the idea of setting a goal usually is that we think that when we reach that goal, it's going to make us feel a certain way. And so that's the first problem, is that we future pace our well-being out there in the future somewhere. We say, okay, hey, when I get that X amount of salary, that office with the window, that position, that spouse, that vacation, that, fill in the blank, whatever it is, then I will be fulfilled, satisfied, happy, joyful, whatever, right? And what we do is we set that goal out there and we say, hey, when that happens, then I'll be okay inside, right? And then we work towards that goal. And then oftentimes we reach that goal and we find out that doesn't happen. So then we set a new goal and a new goal and a new goal. And goals are often our attempt to set something, like to try to change the external world somehow to feel better inside. When you really look at most goals, that's what they're all about, right? Is I want to feel better, right? That's why we set goals. So, and you're like, hey, well, I like setting goals. Okay, go ahead, do it, right? I'm much more of a believer in setting intentions. And what do I mean by intentions? Well, setting an intention is an intended outcome to happen. What usually is we're not usually clear on our intentions, but we're somewhat clear. And so we set goals with the idea that doing those goals is going to help us get our intended outcome. But what's a much better practice is just to set a clear intended outcome to happen and let go of the idea. So what goals are the ego's way of trying to get you to your intended outcome. And even though most of us aren't even really clear on our intended outcome, we're somewhat clear, right? And oftentimes we set our intended outcome is that I don't want something, which is just a terrible way to go about things. So this is why I want to talk about setting intentions, is because we either do one of two things. We say, hey, I don't want this. Like, I don't want anxiety. I don't want to be caught in the OCD loop, right? And at the end of that goal is really there's just blank, right? You're just at default 0, right? That shouldn't be where your desired place to be is not just at this, kind of like, I want the absence of pain. Instead, we should really set the intention of, hey, I want to feel optimal. I want to feel great. I want to feel like the best I've ever felt in my life. I want to feel joy. I want to feel peace. I want to feel love, all that stuff, right? That's a much, much better intention. So First off, let's talk about, like, we don't want to set negative intentions. We don't want to set that I don't want something. What we want to set is I want something. It's not that I don't want sickness. I want health. I intend health, right? As an end outcome. And then what the ego does is that the ego says, okay, well, I need to figure out how to get there. And so the ego comes up with all these ways, and then you set goals based on what the ego says. In my experience, that's a flawed way of going, right? Because the ego has this way of just leading us into the wrong path. So when it comes to your 2023 year, for many of you may have that deep internal intention of like, hey, I really want to be mentally and physically healthy, emotionally and spiritually healthy, right? Like all the 4 quadrants of what make us up as people, as humans, really setting clear intentions of what you want those to be like. That's great. But here's the key. And this is the secret that I think most people don't realize is you need to drop the how. It's not your job to figure out how. That's where most people go wrong. Doesn't mean you don't need to do things, right? But the reality is that you don't always know the best way to get there. But when you set clear intentions, and I mean clear intentions, this is what's so important. It's not setting clear goals, setting clear intended outcomes for your life. Like, I mean, crystal clear. I intend for, to live in a house, by the end of 2023. I want to buy a house, right? And getting even clear, I want to buy a house in this city, in this neighborhood, whatever it is. I want it to have this many bedrooms, getting that clear intention for what that looks like. Most people don't do this. They have zero idea of what they really want their life. They're just kind of drifting along. They have no intentions for their marriage or their relationship. What do you really want that to look like? Not like, I want to stop arguing with my significant other so much. No. It's like, it's not that you don't want the negative. It's that you want, what you don't want is a very clear indicator of what you do want. When we are experiencing something in life we don't want, what that actually does is it shines a light on what we really want. When we're not feeling well internally, it's not that we don't want illness or not feel well or to feel low energy. Is that we want good health. We want high energy. We want the opposite positive, the polar opposite of that. Hope this makes sense right here. And this is why, instead of setting goals for yourself of like, oh, I want to have this weight, right? A lot of people do this. It's like a lot of people, first of the year comes around, hey, I want to be this weight, this number, which is such a superficial goal, right? Because people do all sorts of things like, there's products out there, right, that will just drop all your water weight, right? And you'll actually get to that number. It doesn't mean that you're healthy in any stretch of the imagination. Now, if you really got clear, though, on the intended outcome of why you want to be that number, that is much better to write out that intention. And then letting go of the idea that you think that that you need to be that certain weight and all that other stuff. So for instance, if you're saying, hey, I want to feel just great in my body. I want to be flexible. I want to feel strength. I want to feel like my body can go carry me to do anything. What will happen is that then the opportunities will start to appear in your life to get you there. And it may not be what your mind came up with. Sure, dieting might be a part of that. But what it might be, expanding your flexibility, breaking up myofascia, all that other stuff, right? Cold plunges. I mean, who knows, right? The point I'm making here is that when you're moving into 2023, I think the most important thing that you can do is to set clear intentions for how you want your life to be. That is the best use case for the mind. When we're talking about the rational mind, is determining what you want. And again, we're always going to want stuff in life. We're always going to need things, right? And it's okay to want, right? It's okay to want these things in your life. And instead of setting goals of like, I want to heal anxiety. I want to, get rid of anxiety. I want to, break free from OCD. Those things are good, but that's just one aspect of actually getting to what you really want, which again, maybe that peace, that joy, that stillness, right? Just being able to just be with yourself, that stuff. And what I would encourage you, right? What I'm going to do, right? This week, I'm going to be setting very clear intentions for 2023. And what I mean by that is I'm going to kind of future pace, and I'm going to look at the year and I'm going to say, hey, this is what I intend for this next year. And oftentimes I don't do this in a rushed way in any way. So I kind of want to walk through what I'm going to be doing. And I just want to share it with you. Generally, I'll kind of, again, start with some kind of meditation, prayer, right? Where there's just this stillness. And then I kind of look at 4 areas of my life, right? My health, right? Because if I'm not healthy, if there's anything I learned from this past year, if I'm not healthy, I'm useless to every single person. My wife, my daughter, my clients, business, right? All that. And yeah, no, in this last year, especially the first half of it, I was not healthy, right? And it was a really good learning for this year for me. So setting clear intentions for my health. Then it's like, okay. And then moving into my relationships, hey, what do I intend my marriage to look like? What do I intend my relationship with my daughter to look like? And getting clear on that, right? Like, what is the perfect outcome if I could craft it? What do I really want there? Then getting clear on my intentions for restored minds in the business, How many people do I want to work with this year, right? What does that look like? What do I need to create to make this even a better experience? Like what would it look like if taking back control in our experience that we have in our 12-week program, like how can it be even better than what it is? And what can we add to it? What can we bring to it? Who can we bring to it to even make it better, to help get better results, right? With the show, right? What can we do to improve this? These are questions that we just started. Hey, like what is a perfect, what would it look like if it was like the best it could be? And that's where we start. We start at the end outcome. And then what happens is once we set those clearly, for whatever reason, and then obviously, you can set financial, things. So if you want to have a certain amount in the savings, if you want to, again, have a certain amount of revenue this year, if you want to take a certain amount of vacations, whatever it is, but really taking time and writing that out on paper. And and as clear statements as possible. Like, no, not like I kind of want this. It's like, no, I intend for this. See, most of us are scared to do that because we're afraid that when we put it down, it's like, one, it might come true. And that idea is actually kind of scary sometimes. The other thing is we get, afraid of getting let down. So we kind of play it safe. Like, yeah, if I don't do this, then the year's just going to happen the way it happens. But I want you to dare to dream big. Dream big. Set clear intentions of what you really want. And it's okay. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to have that. You're just as much entitled to all of that as anyone else. Just by being you. You don't have to justify it. And so setting those clear intentions, right? That's and not goals. Don't set goals. Set the intended outcome that you wish to have fulfilled. What that actually looks like at the end. And then from there, what happens in my experience is that life has this weird way of opening up doors that are very clear to start to bring that into your life. And then from there, you start to walk through them, and you don't always need to know the path, but you can trust that things will start to get put in motion to bring that into fruition. If it is a clear intention and something that you really desire to happen. I believe that wholeheartedly. And yes, it will take work on your end and you'll have to do certain things, but it'll always be clear on what you need to do. You don't need to just take action for the sake of taking action. And so when it comes to setting those clear intentions, write them out on paper, get specific, and really lay that out for the year. I challenge you to do that. I know it sounds simple, but most people don't do this. And I really think this could bring some significant change into your life if you really take it seriously. And so, and again, in the next episode, I'm going to talk about kind of just embracing the seasons and what that really means. But, and again, with the intention work, it starts with just that clear intention. That's the first thing that I want you to do for moving into this year. Let go of the goals, let go of what you think the goals you're supposed to have are, get clear on what you want your life to be like and put that on paper. And then meet me in the next episode. And then in the next episode, I'm going to talk about the idea of embracing the season and really, really getting clear on, you know, what you really need in this season and letting go of what the ego is telling you and getting clear on what you actually need and being, you know, and learning to kind of navigate that ebb and flow. So, yeah, so thanks for hanging out today. I hope this was helpful. Please do that intention work. I think it will help you a lot. And then I'll see you on the next episode where we're going to talk about, you know, the seasons of change. So looking forward to it, and I'll see you there. Thank you so much for watching that video. And so if you're struggling with OCD and anxiety, I just wanted to let you know that we have a free training for you over at Restored Minds where you can start learning how to use our AAA response to really break out of that loop and ultimately take back control of your life. And all you need to do to access is just click the little link below and you'll be taken to a page where you can register today. Thank you so much.